Protect your child from adult information. Okay, so before we get into it, I'm Dr. Kirsten Hunter, clinical psychologist for 23 years, and I'm delighted to be here to share this information. So, in families, we often have kids come in with very heavy hearts and lots of heavy topics going through their mind, lots of fears, and often it's because they've accidentally been exposed to adult information that is beyond their years, and they're very stressed. And it's just a really interesting reminder that we end up having conversations with in session, that it's quite common in families when the parent might be having, some struggles with regard to broader family issues, or they might be having conflict with their partner, or there might be financial stress, conflict with the neighbour, the parents' personal issues, the parents' childhood issues, that if there was any trauma or neglect, and that there can be we're open in our family, people say. But that's like going and taking your child and putting them in front of the wheel and putting them on the freeway and saying, now it's your turn to drive. They're not developmentally at the stage to be able to cope with all these adult issues, adult complications, adult stresses. They don't have the skill set, but they also are not in a position to do anything. They are genuinely an audience and the passenger. So adults, as much as we might be frustrated, we are agents of change. We can choose what we're going to do about these situations. Children can't. And so them getting loaded up with hearing about all these stresses, but then having their hands tied, it's not good. So there's a basic rule of thumb. If your child is in grade 4, think about it. If you went and gave a talk to a classroom full of grade 4s, what would you share with a classroom of grade 4s? And suddenly we're very mindful of their age and what's developmentally appropriate. If they're in grade 6, what would we say to a classroom of grade 6? Would we share the complications of, great auntie's trauma, blah, blah, blah? Or would we share that, we're really stressed with the finances with regard to interest rates and whether we're going to make this next payment? Would we share that with the class? No, we wouldn't. We would be very mindful of what's age appropriate. And so just because they're our family members and we can get really relaxed and we can get complacent, it doesn't mean that the harm changes. So please, if you wouldn't say it to a group of kids that is your child's age, don't say it to your child. There's going to be conflict between parents, absolutely, but don't let the children know about what the conflict topics are, because it's not child appropriate. And they might have a sense that mum and dad, or the adults, whoever they are a bit tense and a bit terse with each other or whatever, but then they learn that hopefully that gets resolved and that they recover and they're okay, but meanwhile they're not worrying about what those issues are. Some parents actually go another step further, unfortunately, and they actually go to their child to have the child be their support person. So a dad might be saying, your mother does this, your mother does this. The mother might say, your father, he does this, he does this. I've even had parents disclose the desire to, go and have a third party and have a relationship with someone else to the child, and, bringing the child well and truly into the adult world, but also not respecting that it's their mum or their dad in question that would be hurt. So, yeah, just obviously your child is not your support person. They are your child, and look outside for that. One big challenge is if it's only an only parent and a single parent and an only child. That is probably the situation where this happens the most, because there is less of a kind of a power distinction between the parent and the child, because it's just the two people cohabitating, and so that gets really confusing. And then very quickly the child becomes the parent's support person, and that's really, the child loses their childhood, and as I said, they get brought into the adult world and get really stressed. So there you go, guys. Keep the adult information content here and the child information here, and keep the boundary. That would be great. All right. Take care, everybody. If you want to catch me online, Kirsten Hunter Author is Facebook and Instagram. Dr. Kirsten Hunter is TikTok, would you believe? And website kirstenhunterauthor.com. Lots of resources there. Take care. Thank you so much.